All right, today we're jumping into something that sounds super formal, but is actually fascinating. The master calendar hearing in U.S. Immigration Court. We're going to deconstruct it piece by piece to figure out what's really going on behind the curtain. So you look at this scene, and it seems pretty simple, right? A judge, lawyers, a respondent, just your standard courtroom procedure. But if you think that's all that's happening, you're missing the whole game. The real question is, what's going on underneath the surface? The best way to understand this is to think of it like we're breaking down game film. We're not just watching the action, we're analyzing every single move to see the strategy behind it. Because this isn't just some Q&A. It's a high-stakes strategic game where every single word matters. Okay, let's start at the beginning, the opening moves of the game. Now, these first few steps, they might look like just boring formalities, but trust me, they are absolutely critical. They set the entire foundation for everything that's about to happen. So the judge kicks things off, confirms who everyone is, checks the address, administers the oath. Seems pretty basic, right? But here's the expert insight. This isn't just about procedure. The real purpose is to build a legally flawless record. Why? Well, it all comes down to the possibility of a future appeal. And that brings us to the most important audience in the room, who isn't actually in the room at all. It's the appeals court. Everything being said, every question and every answer is being done for the record. That's the official transcript, and it's literally the only thing an appeals court can look at later on. So every single move is calculated for that record. Now we're getting to the most critical, and honestly, the most counterintuitive play of the whole hearing. This is where the deep strategy really starts to show itself. You'll see things start to move really fast here. First, the lawyer for the respondent, Mr. Doe, waives the formal reading of the charges. She's basically saying, let's speed this up. And then, bam, bam! Two moves that sound completely shocking. First, she admits the facts of the case, and second, she concedes that, legally, her client can be removed from the U.S. Okay, hold on, because this is the absolute key to the whole thing. To you or me, hearing "we admit we concede," that sounds like they're just giving up, right? Game over. But to a seasoned lawyer, no way. What they hear is, all right, let's stop wasting time and get to the real fight. This is not a surrender at all. It's a brilliant strategic shortcut. See, by conceding removability, the attorney completely bypasses what could be months or even years of fighting about if the government can remove her client. Instead, she gets to jump right to the most important question: why her client should be allowed to stay. Making that concession is the key that unlocks the door to the next phase of the case. So with that question of removability now settled, the whole purpose of the hearing just pivots. The goal is no longer about if the respondent can be removed. It's now all about setting the rules and the schedule for the real fight over their application to stay. The lawyer doesn't waste a second. She immediately declares the specific types of protection they're going for: asylum, withholding of removal, and protection under the Convention Against Torture. This is now the new center of gravity for the entire case.
And watch this. The judge's role completely changes here. She's no longer just a neutral referee. Her job now is to become a critical advisor and issue a series of legally required warnings. She has to make sure the respondent knows exactly how high the stakes are from here on out.
And the warnings are no joke. The judge makes it crystal clear. If you file a frivolous application, meaning you're just making stuff up, it doesn't just get denied. You get a permanent, lifetime ban from any immigration benefit, ever. The consequences are, well, absolute. And here's another huge piece of the puzzle: the burden of proof. The judge is essentially saying, even if I believe every word you say, if you don't bring in supporting documents and your excuse for not having them sounds fishy, I can still deny your case. The pressure is entirely on the applicant to prove everything. And then, finally, the hearing achieves its main goal: getting the next date on the calendar. That's the individual merits hearing. That's the big show.
where the actual arguments for asylum will be made. This whole first hearing was really just an incredibly efficient setup for that day.
So, let's pull back and look at our game film one more time. When you break down the hearing like this, you can start to see the hidden rules, the unwritten strategies that are really running the show. What we've really seen is a masterclass in legal chess. The number one goal? Efficiency. Get through it fast. Every single word spoken is for one audience, that potential appeals court down the line. That concession isn't a white flag, it's a power move. And you gotta remember, this hearing, it's not even the main event, it's just setting the stage. And right from the jump, the entire burden of proof is put squarely on the respondent. And that leaves us with one last big question to chew on. This entire hearing is basically an engine designed for maximum efficiency just to move a case along. If that's how the very first step in the process is built, what does that tell us about the incredible pressures facing the entire U.S. immigration court system? Something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.